Hi guys, I am Tiffany and I am at the Animal Kingdom right now, and I am going to tell you all about the Lightning Lane system and how you can use it to maximize your 2026 Disney vacations. I am here at the Animal Kingdom today, and I'm going to be doing the 4-part challenge and telling you all about the Lightning Lane system in each park, and also just about the Lightning Lane system in general. I am going to put timestamps on this so you can fast forward to the parts that you really want to see. And we are just going to be doing a little 4-part challenge. I have some rules. Here they are. And yeah, it's just going to be a wonderful day. Lightning Lane is Disney's pay to skip the line service, and there are a few different types of Lightning Lanes that you can get.
Lightning Lane Premier Pass is your most expensive option, and it gives you access to all the Lightning Lanes in your specified park. You do not have to book return windows, giving you added flexibility to your park day. This option typically costs between $159 to $449 per person per day. Higher demand parks like the Magic Kingdom are more expensive, and it is more expensive on busier days. Lightning Lane MultiPass gives you the ability to book Lightning Lanes on the majority of rides in your specified park. You get to book 3 rides on your booking day when you purchase the Lightning Lanes, and then as you use them, you get to book additional rides. The rides and times are subject to availability. Pricing varies based on park and demand, and typically runs between $19 to $45 per person per day. As a non-local who goes to the parks as frequently as I can, but not as much as I would like, I do purchase MultiPass on the majority of my park days. However, if you have a large party, then that cost can add up. Lightning Lane single passes are available for 1 to 2 rides in each park, and these are your most popular rides in the park. Again, the price on these fluctuate depending on which ride it is and how busy the park is. Typically between $13 and $22 per person depending on the ride. The Lightning Lane single passes are included in Premier Pass, but these rides are not included in MultiPass. However, you can use MultiPass and single pass both in the same park. At time of filming, these are the single pass rides: Flight of Passage in the Animal Kingdom, Rise of the Resistance in Hollywood Studios, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in EPCOT, and Tron Light Cycle Run, as well as Seven Dwarf Mine Train in the Magic Kingdom.
So now you may be wondering, are these Lightning Lanes worth the cost, and are they worth it for your family?
The answer isn't always a clear yes or no. However, if you're traveling during a busy time, I would almost always recommend MultiPass and possibly single passes. I personally have never purchased Premier Pass, and I feel like I have gotten a lot done with the MultiPass. Also, if I were going to rank which parks you should get MultiPass in, the most important one would be Magic Kingdom, followed by Hollywood Studios, then EPCOT, lastly the Animal Kingdom. Keep in mind this is under normal circumstances and just my personal experience with the Disney parks.
All right. All right, let's hop on Expedition Everest, and then I'm going to tell you why I always want a super early Lightning Lane. And I really want to ride Everest, don't get me wrong. I was lucky that it was such a great ride, but sometimes I will even book a ride that I don't even want to ride that much just to get the earliest time. Expedition Everest was so much fun, but let's talk about the tiered system with Lightning Lane Multipass. So with Multipass, there is a tiered system in every park except for the Animal Kingdom. When booking your 3 selections, you can book 1 Tier 1 ride and 2 Tier 2 rides. The Tier 1 rides tend to be the more popular rides, and we'll go into what they are in each park. But this is important for you to know for what I was going to tell you about.
Once you scan into your first Lightning Lane, the tiered system goes out the window and you can book whatever tier ride you want. You also unlock park hopping whenever you scan that first Lightning Lane, so you can book a ride in any park. Granted, you have to have a park hopper ticket to go to that park. I like to refer to that first Lightning Lane early in the morning as a Catalyst Lightning Lane because it opens the door to many other possibilities. By doing this, I was able to modify my current Lightning Lanes and make a Lightning Lane for Frozen Ever After and Tiana's Bayou Adventure, 2 Tier 1 attractions, and also one for the Tower of Terror, which is a Tier 2 attraction in Hollywood Studios. Now, the times I have these attractions booked for are not ideal for my day, but we will talk about that in a minute.
All right, now it is time for me to head to the front of the park. I am going to take a selfie with the Tree of Life, trade a pin, get a snack, and then hop on over to my next park. So now is a great time to talk to you about park hopping. I already mentioned park hopping and unlocking park hopping, but I just wanted to talk a little bit more about costs, that kind of thing.
Bear with me on all these voiceovers. My mic was not working properly, so I did record some of this after the fact. With park hopping, you pay for the Lightning Lane Multipass in the first park that you go to. So today, I paid for Lightning Lane Multipass in the Animal Kingdom. This was the most cost-effective option. However, Animal Kingdom does tend to be a little bit easier to get Lightning Lanes in, so a more strategic choice would have been Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios first. It just depends on what your priorities are. You can book your Lightning Lane single pass rides in any park you want to on the day that your booking opens up. It doesn't matter if it is the same park you are starting in or not. But you can only book 2 single passes in one day.
All right, let's talk about your priorities when booking Lightning Lanes for the Animal Kingdom.
The 2 rides in Pandora typically get long wait times. We'll talk about Flight of Passage in a minute. But Na'vi River Journey, I typically will recommend snagging that one first. By first, I mean when your booking window opens up, not necessarily first thing in the morning, but just one of the first ones that you book. When booking Lightning Lane in Animal Kingdom, remember I said you may not need it in Animal Kingdom, but if you have it, another one I typically always book is Kilimanjaro Safari, and I get the earliest time of day possible for that one. The temperature is typically a little bit cooler and the animal's more active. For my third priority, I typically will go with Expedition Everest. A lot of times I skip Kali River Rapids, but if you are wanting to ride Kali River Rapids, that is also an excellent choice. The shows in Animal Kingdom you typically don't need a Lightning Lane for, with the exception of Festival of the Lion King gets pretty popular, so if I booked one for any show, it would be that one. Flight of Passage is a Lightning Lane single ride in this park, and it is incredibly popular. This one I typically will either recommend booking, rope dropping, or riding it as the last ride in the evening and getting in line a couple minutes before the park closes.
Now I'm going to tell you how to book Lightning Lanes.
You can book your Lightning Lanes on the My Disney Experience app. Make sure you're downloading the one for Walt Disney World and not Disneyland. It should look like this. If you're staying at a Disney resort or select Good Neighbor resorts, you can book your Lightning Lanes 7 days before your trip. This is for your entire trip. If you're staying off property, you can book your Lightning Lanes 3 days before your Disney vacation. These booking windows open at 7 a.m. and I highly recommend getting onto the app around 6:58 a.m. just to get situated beforehand. When you log into the My Disney Experience app, your home screen should look something like this. On it, you will see where you can select to purchase Lightning Lane Multipass and Single Pass, and also Premier Pass. So I'm going to act like I'm purchasing Lightning Lane Single Pass and Multipass to show you. I am going to click Purchase and Multipass and Single Pass. Wait on the app to load. Then you will select your day. Next, you select your park. I picked the Animal Kingdom, and I got Multipass and Single Pass. The next screen allows you to choose your party. Now if you notice, you have seen the prices, but you still have not had to pay for the service yet. Now I am simply going to select my rides for the multi-pass. There is only one single pass ride, so I didn't have to pick it. Now you'll see a screen with the times that the app picked, and you will have the ability to modify the times to what is available. Like I said, I like to have an early lightning lane so I can go ahead and get the ball rolling early on in the day. So since there's not an earlier Kilimanjaro Safari, I'm going to move Everest to the earliest slot possible. And at this point, that is when you can check out. I like how you can see what is available before purchasing. Now back to the rest of the video.
All right, I got to eat my breakfast. I pin traded. I got to meet Carl from Up, which is a great bonus, and took a picture with the Tree of Life. So now I am headed to EPCOT, and my bus is here. Gotta go. Bye. Don't stop the video. It's not over. Hi guys, I'm back here at EPCOT. And I am going to tell you about the lightning lane system at EPCOT while I'm walking in and walking to my lightning lane, which is Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Now, in my opinion, EPCOT is one of the hardest parks to pick a Tier 1 lightning lane in, and I'm going to tell you why.
EPCOT has 3 very popular Tier 1 lightning lanes, and I find it very difficult to get a lightning lane for all 3 of these rides in one day. These are Test Track, Frozen Ever After, and Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Honestly, there isn't even a way that I'd feel comfortable cut and dry saying this is the one you should pick first. So I'm going to give you a few different scenarios and tell you what I would do. If you are going to the park by yourself, or you don't mind splitting up from your group and riding by yourself on the rides, then 2 of these rides have a single rider lane. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure and Test Track, and both single rider lanes, in my experience, have been very good. So if you fall in that category, then I would pick Frozen Ever After as your Tier 1 lightning lane and try to get the other 2, and if you don't, then you still have the single rider as your option. If you are rope dropping EPCOT and you are staying in a Skyliner or an EPCOT area resort, then I would rope drop Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and I would get a lightning lane for either Test Track or Frozen Ever After. If you're staying off property or in a resort that uses the front entrance of EPCOT, then I would rope drop Test Track and get a lightning lane for Frozen Ever After or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Lastly, if you're trying to get a lightning lane for more than one of these attractions, then your best strategy is going to be getting a super early lightning lane and scanning into it as soon as you can, and then modifying or making another Tier 1 lightning lane. For Tier 2 lightning lanes, I would prioritize soaring. If you are wanting to ride Mission Space Orange, that's another good one to prioritize. But if you're traveling at Christmas time, then you want to do Living with the Land, Glimmering Greenhouses at night because it is gorgeous, and you're going to want to prioritize getting a lightning lane for that. However, any other time of the year, Living with the Land is a pretty easy lightning lane to get. The lightning lane single pass in EPCOT is Cosmic Rewind, and that is a great ride. It is one I typically will purchase the lightning lane for. Now let's ride Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
Venez, suivez-moi. A simple omelet? Yes. Mais oui, that's it.
I pin traded. I took a selfie with Spaceship Earth and rode Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, and now we are headed to Hollywood Studios. Now it is pouring. I'll be back to you on the Skyliner.
All right, while I'm on the Skyliner, let's talk about experience redemption passes. I am on the way to Hollywood Studios, by the way, for my Tower of Terror Lightning Lane.
An experience redemption pass is something that you receive when your ride is down during your Lightning Lane period. It will look like this in your My Disney Experience app, and once you have an experience redemption pass, you can go ahead and book another Lightning Lane. The experience redemption pass is good for the ride that was down or some other rides, and you can click on your pass to see what qualifies and what does not qualify. One nice thing about these is you can use them at any time, but make sure whenever you scan into a ride, you have a Lightning Lane and you're in your time for that one, because it will automatically use your experience redemption pass if you are not.
All right, now let's talk a little bit about refreshing your screen. This is a screen recording I took while I was in line for Expedition Everest after I scanned in for my Lightning Lane this morning. Notice how I have unlocked Tier 1 rides and unlocked park hopping. And now I have late times when I first book it, later than I'm even going to be here. I'm going to be on an airplane at that point. So I needed to change my times and make them better times for me. So I keep refreshing my screen over and over again until a better time pops up or a different Lightning Lane pops up that I want to change and modify my reservation for. Yay! We are at Hollywood Studios and I am headed for the Tower of Terror. The rain is now just a drizzle, so I'm hoping to get the poncho off on Tower and it to be completely over by then. But I am so excited to ride Tower of Terror. It's my favorite ride. On our way to the Tower of Terror, I'm going to tell you all about the Lightning Lane system for Hollywood Studios and what the hardest Lightning Lane to get in all of Walt Disney World is.
Hollywood Studios is the one park where I can confidently tell you exactly which ride you should pick as your first Tier 1 choice. If you want to get a Lightning Lane for Slinky Dog Dash, that should be your first Tier 1 choice pick. I'm not exactly sure why, but for some reason, I have found Slinky Dog Dash to be one of the hardest Lightning Lanes to get in all of Walt Disney World, if not the hardest. When I filmed the video where I tried to ride every single ride in Walt Disney World, I basically built that video around having Slinky Dog Dash as my first Tier 1 choice. At the time of me recording this, the other two Tier 1 options are Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad and the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. I imagine once Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets opens up again, it will be a Tier 1 as well, but I still think that Slinky Dog will be my number 1 priority. For the number 2 priorities, I always go the same 2 choices. The Tower of Terror, which honestly I think should be a Tier 1 choice. It is such a great attraction. And Toy Story Mania. These both tend to sell out the fastest. So let's go ride my favorite ride. The ride that I consider the icon of Hollywood Studios.
That door is opening once again, and this time it's opening for you.
Best ride and heck, one of my favorite cast members, but it's pouring, so I'll see y'all in the Magic Kingdom.
Side note, I did pin trade and got this Shelly Mae pin and took my selfie with Tower. Oh, and I almost forgot to talk about it, but let's talk about the Lightning Lane single pass ride at Hollywood Studios. At Hollywood Studios, you have Rise of the Resistance, one of the most technologically advanced and popular rides in all of Walt Disney World. This ride can get long waits. However, it has a single rider lane. The problem with the single rider lane for this ride is that it does cut out some of the experience. So if it is your first time riding this ride, I recommend rope dropping it, waiting on the line to drop if it does, waiting in the standby line, or purchasing the Lightning Lane.
Hey guys, park number 4, and it is only 2:22 p.m. I am headed to Space Mountain, and on the way I'm going to give you my Lightning Lane tips for Magic Kingdom.
Magic Kingdom has a lot of rides. It has a lot of options for Tier 1, and some of this will depend on you and your family. However, for me right now, if I were going to Magic Kingdom, my Tier 1 choice would be Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Recently, Disney did some updates on Big Thunder, and it was down for over a year, and I have found the Lightning Lanes to be very hard to get for it. Now, once the novelty of it dies down, maybe Jungle Cruise or Peter Pan's Flight would be my recommendation, but for now, it's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Other Tier 1 Lightning Lanes in the Magic Kingdom are, as I mentioned already, the Jungle Cruise, very popular ride. Peter Pan's Flight, again, very, very popular. Space Mountain, classic. And Tiana's Bayou Adventure. On the day I filmed this, I had Tiana's Bayou Adventure Lightning Lane. However, I decided to go with Space Mountain just because I was going to go from that park to the airport and I didn't want to be wet on the plane. For your Tier 2 Lightning Lane picks, the Mini Adventures of Winnie the Pooh is extremely popular and seems to go quickly. Also, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin recently had some updates, so that is another strong choice. The Haunted Mansion and Pirates are classic rides, but typically a little bit easier to get later in the day than the two I mentioned. One difference between the Magic Kingdom and other parks is the Magic Kingdom has 2 Lightning Lane single pass rides. One of these is Tron Light Cycle Run, and this is a very popular ride that lines up a lot. The other is Mine Train, another popular ride that lines up. However, if you had to only pick one between these two, I would probably pick Tron. Speaking of that, I don't know if I mentioned this already or not, but you can only purchase 2 Lightning Lane single passes per day, and that is across all the parks if you're hopping.
Okay, Space Mountain, let's ready. All right, I traded pins in the Main Street Theater. It was a trivia question for the pins, and then she showed you the good pins, which was really fun. The question was, how long is happily ever after? It is 18 minutes long. So they were very shocked that I got it. It did take me 2 tries, but I listened to it on my way home from work, so I was just trying to figure out like what point of the drive I'm at when it ends. Anyway, it is now time for my vacation to end, which has me pretty sad, but I will be back here very, very soon. So, thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you for your support. It means so much to me.